What's up, Tiger Gang? It's JT here from the Poco Moonshine family. I got my buddy Carrie. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good.
Well, actually,
It's
no, it's
a,
not Carrie. That's Mario. Oh my gosh, man! I'm telling you, I must be going blind.
it's a me, Mario.
It's me, Mario.
I can't wear that anymore though. I can't see anything,
Yeah, or breathe, right?
and you can't really hear me. Yeah,
Yeah. We're just having some fun today, you guys, and we thought it'd be fun to come at you guys with some carnivore diet myth versus facts, and have some fun with it because there are a lot of things that get said about the carnivore diet that really aren't true, right, Carrie?
absolutely. A lot of it not true.
Now, one of them is that carnivores can only eat meat. I get that all the time on my comments when they see me eating eggs or something. They're like, that's not carnivore. That's not carnivore. That's a myth that carnivores can only eat meat. That's a myth. We're allowed eggs too, you guys.
Right? I've mistakenly said sometimes beef, butter, bacon, eggs, but then I'm like, wait, actually, I eat more than that because sometimes I'll have chicken or fish occasionally, but mostly beef, butter, bacon, eggs. But if it's an animal product, it's carnivore in my opinion.
Yeah, we can even have butter. Just because it's not meat, that doesn't mean it's not allowed on the carnivore diet. I get that all the time on my shorts. They're like, oh, messing up. That's not carnivore. I'm like,
Right.
yes, it is. An egg is an animal product.
Right. Well, you know the other funny thing, JT, is when I don't know if you've experienced this, but when I tell people I'm carnivore, they're like, "Oh, you like meat?" I'm like, "Yeah, it's only meat." And then they're always like, "Yeah, but you have some vegetables, right?" I'm like, "No, it's just meat." Well, you have fruit, right? No, it's just meat. It seems like you always have to qualify that a couple times with people. I guess it
Yeah,
was unbelievable to me at first too. So
they just can't get the wax out of their ears when we're talking carnivore. I made a short the other day when I was eating pizza and all that junk, man. Nobody said nothing to me. But then as soon as you say you're on the carnivore diet, man, everybody has got an opinion or they're an expert or something.
yeah,
Do you
yeah.
got a myth you want to bring up next?
Oh, I came prepared, JT. I got
We
a
can
bunch
go
of
back
myths.
and forth with them.
Okay, so here's one. The carnivore diet is not sustainable. And I guess this could be for many reasons, but
What
for
a
this
load of
one,
crap.
they're saying it's not sustainable for the planet.
Oh, the environment.
Yeah,
I'll take that one off mine. It is sustainable for the environment. You brought it up in one of your videos, buddy. You were talking about how um when these packages of spinach and greens they get packaged right in these plastic things, and some of them come from Mexico and they get shipped all the way to Wisconsin, and that's driven in a semi truck. It doesn't come here by UFO, not yet, but right
right,
now it's semi truck, which pollutes the air. And then they eat only like maybe half or three quarters of the thing, and then they have good intentions. You'll probably put it back in the fridge and then pull it out 3 days later when it's brown and bad, and then you throw the plastic out, you waste the spinach. It was driven all over the place. And then they're mad because you went maybe 15, 20 minutes out of town to your local beef farmer and picked up a whole bunch of meat that came from exactly where you're at on that beef farm. So I don't know, man. I think it's sustainable. You're only killing one animal and you're eating it, and then you mentioned too all those birds that die from the pesticides. There's millions of them, and even more. I think it was like 200 million get sick and 67 million die a year. So
right,
that's a lot of other sick birds that literally almost died. And for all the birds that did die, it's not even like a chicken or something. Like the animals we kill on the carnivore diet, we eat. We get nutrients from them. We get everything we can off the animal. So pesticides, they literally just kill the animal and nothing. The animal's dead. It's diseased. It's you can't eat it anyways.
right, right. And I agree with all of that. And one thing I just want to add quick this is something I learned. I'm always trying to gather more wisdom. That's why I love talking to you, JT. You're one of the wiser people I know, especially for your age. Credit where due. But
Hey, I
Maggie,
learned a lot from you, man.
yeah, well, Rancher Maggie, 82 years old, that was one thing that she really wanted to get across was how we keep pulling vegetables and stuff out of the ground, but we're not putting anything back into the ground. And the soil it's like the dust bowl. There's no nutrients back in the soil. On Maggie's ranch, she has cows. The cows poop on the ground. It's a circle of life, and that poop fertilizes the ground. That those nutrients and stuff from that get back into the plants, and come and it's like this circle of life, but we just keep Maggie's point was we keep pulling things out of the ground but not putting things back, and that is not sustainable, and it's very scary. It's something she's really has on her mind and is worried about, and we should all be
It's
more
100%
worried
right,
about.
because that's right in line with what my coach taught me. He says any stream of abundance, and if you don't give back to whatever stream of abundance you're getting from, if you don't give back to that stream, you, the stream will just trickle down and end. Like, you got to give back to where you're getting from. So if someone gave you good information, give back to them. Do something nice for them because they gave you good info. When a lot of people out here, they're giving people a bum steer, they're lying to them. So even the earth is the same way. I mean, if you don't give back to it with nutrients and do something good for it, it's just going to be done given back to you. I mean, you just took and took and took, and you can't do that for long.
Right. And I know that kind of firsthand, being starting out as a homesteader for 8 years now. We tried growing a garden here. It was so hard. People don't know how hard that is. I remember like when the pandemic and stuff hit, a lot of people were like, well, if there's ever some big disaster or something, I'll just start a garden. And in my head, I'm like, good luck with that. It could take you a couple of years
Yeah,
amending the soil and putting chemicals in there and trying to get the pH and the balance right just to grow some vegetables that have barely any of the nutrients you need, and we get all of that nutrients from the meat we're eating. So,
well, and you can see it's hard enough to grow a garden in normal conditions. You're going to do it during some sort of disaster. I mean,
right,
good luck, man.
right,
Yeah, no, you got to give back. You can't just keep taking from the land. So I think that's a lot of things too. Now they're switching a lot of these farms if they stop making a certain food, or they'll switch where the crop is planted next year, so that way it's a little bit more better
right.
crop.
Rotating things around for sure.
Yeah. All right, I'm just ticking one off my list here. Yes, so we only eat meat. That's a lie, you guys. That's a lie. Take that one off. Now, they say that carnivores don't get essential nutrients, Carrie. We're
Yeah,
we're not getting the nutrients. And I sent you something today where they said you need fiber. You don't have fiber in your diet, that you're setting yourself up for disease and death. And I just don't agree, man. I just don't agree. And they said too in this article I'll be bringing up with Dr. Chafee when I have him on the channel here soon. The article said that keto-based diets, including carnivore, produce a lot of constipation. So they said it'd actually be a good idea for carnivores to put some fiber in their diet if they were smart enough to do that.
yeah. It's a bunch of garbage.
I'm telling you, I cannot wait for Chafee to tear that article up.
275 days today. I have had nothing but meat, beef, butter, bacon, eggs, animal products. So when they say that you lack the nutrients, when is it going to hit me? On day 276, on day 300? And when is it going to hit other people that have been doing this for a long time, like Dr. Chafee, 10 years on and off, 5 years straight? Maggie, 82-year-old carnivore. She's been doing carnivore for 60 years. She's only had animal products. She's one of the healthiest, fittest people I know. She's like, I'm just getting started at 82 years old. So where are these deficiencies going to hit these people? I don't get it. We get all of the nutrients and vitamins and everything I need from meat. I've done it for 275 days. I feel better now than I have my entire life. I have more energy now than I have my entire life. The sleep is better. Like, I feel like I could get up and run a marathon now, and I could barely do any of that before. So
I can totally tell. You know, guys, I used to watch Carrie's channel before we talked like this, and man, I'm telling you, he would get out the chainsaw and cut a few things, and he'd have to sit down, and he was huffing and puffing, man. And I could tell, man, you were doing the video, but you weren't excited about it, man. I could tell you were just going through the motions. You kind of had some things going on in your life, and it's what you wanted to do, but you weren't enjoying it at the moment. And that sucks, man, when you don't feel good and you still try to do things that you enjoy and you just don't truly enjoy them. So that's one of my favorite things about getting all the nutrients. Now I feel so good. Like you said, I've never felt this good, and I'm enjoying everything. Look at this live stream. I got my bacon suit on. Like, you don't feel this good if you're not getting nutrients.
yes, yeah, exactly. And then the fiber argument too is just such a joke. Again, 275 days, no fiber.
Oh, you must not have pooped in
Right.
275 days, Carrie.
Yeah, I'm waiting. Maybe tomorrow I will.
Yeah, no, you're gonna definitely have colon cancer now, because that's all just sitting in there rotting. I mean, give
Right.
me a break. I have regular bowel movements every day. I haven't needed any fiber. And I think it's funny too. You get a lot of these people who say, like, oh, well, you guys must not be using the bathroom. Well, you've never tried the diet, and here you are trying to tell everybody how the diet goes. I
Yeah,
find that peculiar. It's like this article too I've been reading off of, like, they're like, oh, well, that's not good if you do the carnivore. Well, did you try the carnivore diet? Did you see how it made you feel?
right. Our friend Charger Mopar Rick just said no constipation since 1983. So there you go, 40-year
Wow.
carnivore there.
Since his last piece of duck food. Yeah, Rick, I'm telling you, I gave him a GoPro. You guys need to visit Rick's channel. He is pumping out the content like it's nobody's business. He's been saving baby ducks from the sewer wells. Been fishing them out. Like, he's literally like a ducky superhero, man. I've been even seeing lizards fly into the water, man. I didn't know lizards could swim until it was on Rick's channel. So shout out to Rick, man.
Yeah, Rick's awesome.
Now I'm taking the essential nutrients off there. We went through that stupid myth.
Right.
What's the one you got, Carrie?
Oh, here's one. You might have this one on your list too. The carnivore diet, that's just a fad diet.
Yeah, this is not Atkins. This is a way of life, man. This is with the proper mindset, you can feel good physically, mentally, and spiritually on carnivore diet. Like, no, it's not the silver bullet. It's not going to cure everything, but man, can it sure heal the body in a lot of different ways. I'm a firm believer in that.
Yeah, I get fired up with the fad diet comment for carnivore. I believe the standard American diet, another little 3 letters, is the
Hey,
fad diet.
Bill's in here.
Hey, Bill.
Bill.
Bill's uploading his big video. Been getting a lot of questions. When's Bill's video coming out? He's been working hard on this next video. I'm excited to see this one. He just commented. He says it's loading up right now. So probably after we're done with this one, you guys can go check out Bill's video. But
let's go, Bill. Bill's not playing around. That's Bill not.
Bill not knows carnivore diet's not the fad diet. Yeah, I think the standard American diet is the fad diet. If you look at in the grand scheme of humanity, we've only been eating the standard American diet for a sliver of all of the time. And during that time, everyone is sick. Heart disease is the #1 killer. Cancer, despite billions of dollars being spent on it, is going through the roof. Type 2 diabetes, everything. During that little window of time, we've had this standard American diet, which people that are saying the fad diet are the ones doing the standard American diet. I don't think carnivore is a fad diet because I've done every other diet. This is the only one that feels this is just right. This is natural. I eat till I'm full. I'm not sitting here counting carbs and calories. I don't even think about it anymore. 275 days into it, it's the easiest thing. And why is that? Because I'm just behaving like a proper, natural human would have. I would have hunted a big animal. I would have eaten a bunch of meat, and that would have been it. I wouldn't have been fussing with all of these other things. I don't believe it's a fad diet at all. I believe it's the way we've eaten for a time. I believe it's precisely the opposite of a fad diet.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I don't like that term fad because, I mean, you don't want to know what is a fad. Like you said, the standard American diet, the fad, when they're on there advertising for Burger King, you can have it your way. And there's like the newest Taco Bell creation. Like they've always got something where like the taco's now wrapped in a Dorito or something. To me, that's a fad diet.
Right.
How much more fad can you get, man, than something that's like flashy and they're advertising all over the place, and it's just that's a fad diet to me is everything that's being advertised on TV, the standard American diet or the standard atrocious diet, so we can get everybody in there.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I'm just I want to Google here. What is a fad? A fad is an intense and widely shared enthusiasm for something, especially one that is short-lived and without basis. So, yeah, that I would definitely say the standard American diet, there's a lot of shared enthusiasm for it, man. Everybody gathers around the table and looks at the duck food. They smell the duck food. They eat it, man. That's a fad. It's a fad, but that's just my opinion. Yep. Other people might think carnivore's a fad, but whatever. I don't think it is. I think it's a way of life.
For sure.
Let's see. So myth number 4, carnivore diet is unbalanced and unhealthy.
Mm.
I don't agree with that at all, man. I mean, if it was unbalanced and unhealthy, your eyebrows would have fell off by now, Carrie. There would be something wrong about you that I could immediately see. Like you were talking about those deer. Like imagine a bunch of overweight deer with double chins and all this stuff, walking around. Like you would be able to notice right away if something is unhealthy or unbalanced, in my opinion.
Right? Yeah. In my opinion, people that say that too act like the standard American diet is balanced, and it's not. The standard
No.
American diet is heavy in an addiction to sugar, which is in almost every product that people on the standard American diet are eating. How is that balanced if almost everything you need to consume just happens to contain a drug that people don't consider a drug, but I consider it a drug, sugar or seed oils or processed foods? And to say it's unhealthy, carnivore diet is unhealthy. It's so funny because sometimes you just got to look at things with your own two eyes, take things into your own two hands. I've literally never been healthier in my life. Objectively, like I have never been healthier in my life eating the carnivore diet. By every metric you could look at, I'm healthier now than I have been before. So, yeah, that couldn't be further from reality. That statement.
And just to bring the fad diet thing back up one other time, we have been eating meat since this whole thing started. How is that a fad?
Right.
I mean, we've been eating meat since before we ate Cheetos. You know what I'm saying? How is that a fad? It's not short-lived. It's been going on since the beginning of time, and it's still going on now.
Right. There's
This
always that
still bothers me.
analogy.
We had to bring it up.
I've used this analogy before, JT, and I want to include it in the Healing Humanity documentary, but I saw someone else do this too. They use the football field analogy, and they're like, if you picture a whole football field, that's basically hunters and gatherers eating mostly meat like we are right now, like carnivores, since the start of time. And then if you have this little sliver of paper or a sliver of grass at the very end of the football field, that's the standard American diet that we've been eating right now. Put that into perspective. And during that little sliver of grass is
That's a
when
fad.
everybody's sick. That is
Yeah.
definitely a fad. Yeah, short-lived fad. It seems like such a long time to us and normal, but in the grand scheme of things, it's definitely not.
Yeah, our lives, man, really is as great as they are, man. They're really a blink of an eye in the grand scheme of time, man. So that's why I encourage everybody to just do your best, man. Do what's best for you. If the carnivore diet's going to help you get your results now, let's go. Because we don't live long. We're like a blip on the screen. We got to get it. Are you up now, or am I up, Carrie?
I think you're up.
Okay, here's another myth. Carnivores have no energy without carbs. I disagree, man. I am running circles around my old self. I mean,
Right.
I would even, if I could go up to my old self that was pre-carnivore and not carnivore, the duck food JT, I'd put duck food JT in a headlock and I'd do the John Cena, you can't see me, in the 5-knuckle shuffle. I would beat his ass because I'm telling
with
you,
the bacon suit on too.
with the bacon suit on, I had no energy, you guys, to hop around in a bacon suit. I did not feel good. I have more energy now without carbs and sugar too. I don't need those sugar rushes for energy, and it's false energy. It just burns and crashes anyways. But
Yes.
I don't need carbs for energy. That's a myth.
100%. And not only the crashes, but the roller coaster, up and down, up and down. Remember that, JT? Oh my goodness, I don't miss that. You'd have breakfast, the most important meal of the day, and then 2 hours later, what would happen? You're starving again. Oh, give me a granola bar. Give me something. I got to eat. I got to have an apple. I got to have some more sugar, which we're addicted to, but we're just like, oh no, that's normal. And that'll hold you over till lunch, and then you need your another snack between lunch and dinner, and all of these up and downs on carnivore. It's just
I
straight
used to eat those
energy.
Chewy bars, and I would say, well, I know there's a little sugar, but there's grains and things in there.
Yeah, right,
Come on, man.
right.
And I sent you that screenshot. This lady was saying how this doctor lady was saying how that you could still have some of the problem foods that bother your stomach if you have it in small portions. Carrie was like, yeah, well, maybe you can withstand rat poison in small portions, but that doesn't mean you should have it. Like, it was the most ridiculous thing ever. So instead of going on carnivore diet and getting healthy, she was suggesting staying on the things that don't make you feel good, but just eat a little less of them.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, you couldn't make this up. You got one now, Carrie?
Yeah, the carnivore diet is not suitable for athletes.
Oh man, I'm telling you, man. You ever see that movie White Men Can't Jump?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, I feel like I can jump now, man. I feel like I can jump, man. And
Carnivore.
maybe it's true, maybe it's not. I don't know, but I feel like I can jump now more than I ever could. So I feel like an athlete more than I did when I was in high school. And I don't even do athlete stuff, but I feel like one physically. I feel good.
White men can't jump unless they're carnivores.
Let's go.
Hey, you mentioned the man's name earlier too, Dr. Anthony Chafee. You're going to be talking to him on your channel. That's exciting. Talk about athletes. The guy was a professional rugby player. Look at him now too, full carnivore, and he has interviewed some amazing, incredible carnivore athletes. And I think there's a lot more out there that just people on carnivore are scared to talk about it because you get scrutinized and you got to defend yourself and you got to explain it to people. So I think there's a lot more carnivore athletes out there. But look at Dr. Anthony Chafee. Look at Dr. Sean Baker. Look at some of the people they've interviewed too. It's incredible. And what else? I had another note here on this carnivore diet. Oh, a lot of carnivore athletes, Dr. Chafee and some of the folks he's interviewed too have reported this: improved performance, improved recovery. It's crazy on carnivore. You don't get those aches and pains like the stamina. I think there was a carnivore long distance runner or something too. You don't get tired. You don't get that weakness like you do with the carbs. It's pretty incredible.
I gotta rewatch Forrest Gump, and I gotta see if he was on carnivore or not, because he just
Right.
ran all over the
All that
place.
shrimp he was eating was a shrimp.
Hey, there you go. You have shrimp this, shrimp that. All right, I'm next here. Here's another myth: your cholesterol skyrockets on the carnivore diet. Now, maybe sometimes it does in some people's case, but not all of the time. And my wife's cholesterol has not spiked. Hers was right in the middle of the damn green bar, and her doctor was so annoyed and pissed off about it because she couldn't poo-poo the carnivore diet, because she straight up told her, I'm on carnivore. And then she's like, yeah, we'll see about that when we get your tests. Well, she got the test and they're right in the middle of the green on everything, and she's like, well, I guess you can continue. I guess I can continue. You guess, you're pissed off you can't give me a statin or something I'm going to be on the rest of my life?
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
When you go in there again and they tell you about the statins, you need to ask them, JT, what is this going to do for me? I've heard Dr. Barry and others talk about this. If you stick on that statin your entire life for like 30 years, I think it may give you like 5 extra days. With God knows what side effects come along with that. Is that really worth taking a pill for the rest of your life for the next 30 days?
I could have spent all that money on ribeyes, man, and
Right?
actually fixed the problem.
Well, I can't wait for you to have Dr. Chafee on your channel, because you got to ask him that one. He answers it so much better than I could. But there's all sorts of studies and evidence coming out around cholesterol. And I'm not a doctor. I can only say what I believe for myself and what I believe is the truth. And I believe I was deficient, that I wasn't eating enough fatty meat and my cholesterol was too low. And therefore, my hormones were completely out of whack and out of balance. And therefore, I had horrible depression. And instead of fixing the root cause of the problem, they gave me all of these. It was only when I started eating fatty meat that I started feeling better. And from what I've been told and from what I've learned from Dr. Chafee and Dr. Kiltz and some of these other people I've been blessed to have on my channel, I think I was just, that meat was demonized for so long. I avoided that fatty meat for so long. My hormones were just completely out of whack. And when I eat a fatty ribeye, I'm telling you, my body's just like, yes, that's it. Finally, you figured it out. More of that.
I get Willie Nelson high, man, when I eat steaks now, man. I'm telling you, I just get this rush of, I don't know what, but I just feel good. I just like this feeling comes over to me of like energy, clarity. I don't know. I just feel like I'm in a way different vibration when I'm eating ribeye. I just can't explain it.
Did you ever feel like that before? Like before, when I eat junk food, you get a little temporary.
No,
like,
I had to
rush.
smoke weed all the time to feel high, man.
Right? Yeah. You're listening
and I think a lot of that too was boredom, because I didn't feel good, so I wasn't doing much, and then I was bored, and then I would smoke weed. And now that I feel good, I'm into way more content. I'm into way more projects. I'm talking to my friends more, my family more. I'm just, there's no time too, besides not wanting it. Like I feel like if someone is out there struggling with that, like, boredom was probably my biggest trigger for wanting to smoke. Was just boredom. So if you could find a really good, maybe start a YouTube channel, that's probably going to be half of your battle, and then eat some ribeyes and you're going to be good to go.
Right? Yeah. It's like you listen to your body more, it seems like, on carnivore. So when you're eating that steak and you're getting that high, it's probably your body like, yes, more of this. You're doing it right now.
Yeah, that earwax is gone.
Right.
Here's another one. Carnivores risk kidney damage. Man, I'm telling you, man, I'd be laid up in the hospital with kidney failure right now, man. All the ribeyes I ate, if that was true.
Right. I had years ago.
Rick
I
wouldn't
had
have no kidneys, man.
exactly Maggie too. Maggie's no kidney issues with her. 82 years old, 60 years of carnivore. I had kidney stones twice in my life, and
Ooh.
those were when I was on the standard American diet, and those were the most painful thing I've ever been through. In fact, when I went in to get treated for it, the woman said between childbirth and kidney stones were more painful. She had both. She said kidney stones were more painful than birthing a child.
Oh, man.
It's horrible. But I had that on the standard American diet. I didn't have that now. I haven't had any issues with my kidneys now. So I don't think there's any clear evidence either linking high protein intake to kidney damage in healthy individuals. I know Dr. Chafee's talked about that many times. I think Dr. Barry's done some videos on it too. So
you got another one for you?
Yeah, let me see. You actually covered a lot of mine on here.
I've been taking, if you do one that I've got, I take it off the list. That way we don't hit people with repeats.
Carnivore is cruel to animals.
Oh, absolutely not, man. It is actually saving animals, man. If we could kill less animals because we're actually eating whatever animal that we just killed instead of eating all these greens and veggies and stuff that put the pesticides on all the food, and then the insects are dying, the birds are dying, and the animals that eat the birds and the rabbits are dying. I mean, what a domino effect that has. I think carnivore has a way better domino effect, and I love that was Emma that came up with compassionate carnivore, right?
Right. Yep.
Yeah,
That was her.
she's a carnivore angel, man. She really is, and she nailed it right on the head. We are compassionate carnivores. We are compassionate about animals, and I think there's nothing better than being a carnivore and knowing that that animal didn't waste its life, man. You got full nutritional value out of that. Everything. They're eating beef cheeks, cow tongue. Some of the carnivores even like the brain. I mean, I forgot they would back in the day. They said they used to make it all the time. Their grandparents and stuff. So
right. Yeah, I'm on the same page. The thing is, like with vegans, and Emma was one for 5 years, and Jen was vegetarian for 5 years. I love them. Like they have huge hearts, and that's what they're thinking about. But this is what Emma's learned since, and myself. You have to look at the truth. It's every animal on this planet. It's the food chain. If you want to be alive, another animal is going to have to die. So what's the most compassionate way to do it? And I feel like vegans feel like, oh, we're doing the best. We're not harming anything. But the reality is, like you mentioned earlier, JT, something like 64 million birds die a year from pesticide poisoning. That doesn't count the deer, the fox, the squirrels, the animals that eat the birds that are rotting. And those are horrible, painful deaths from poisoning. And then there's monocropping that destroys entire ecosystems. There's all sorts of bad things that happen from that.
And I'm not saying they plan on that, but they still have to at least be honest that their way of life does have some side effects that they maybe didn't intend to have. I'm not saying that that's what they want, but I'm saying regardless, though, that lifestyle has consequence. Every action has a reaction. That's a natural law that my coach taught me. You can't do something without having a reaction. So, I mean, even their way of life is going to have some sort of reaction on the planet. And
right. And I feel like Emma, when she became a vegan, she had this misconception like, oh, if I eat salad and cauliflower, I'm not going to hurt any animals. And I think a lot of vegans think that, but it's not the truth. It's not the truth, and the truth matters. I really believe
live on cauliflower.
Yeah, carnivore, I believe, is the most compassionate diet. Like you said, we get grass-fed beef from my neighbor. I see the cows; they treat them really well. They name all their cows; they're awesome. And one cow dies, I get hundreds of meals. I don't know what's more compassionate than that. Like before that, if I was eating a salad like on keto with 10 different ingredients, How many animals died from pesticide poisoning or transporting those things from Mexico, like we said, and then the pollution, and then the waste, and then the amount of nutrients. That's the other thing that always gets me, like eating a salad. I used to do that all the time, JT, on keto. I'd eat a salad. Who likes a salad? I don't think anybody likes salad. They like the croutons, the cheese, and the dressing. If you really like a salad, then take a head of lettuce and eat it. And then what are you going to get out of that head of lettuce? 14 calories? Like
Most
that's
of
not
it's water. It's mostly water.
right. You're going to have to eat like 12 of the heads of lettuce just to get even a little fraction of the nutrients I'm getting out of the meat. So it's
Yeah, and then
not
you'd be on the
sustainable.
toilet all day from all that fiber.
Right, right.
Yeah, I don't. Mm-mm. Now here's one, Carrie. Carnivores hate fruits and veggies. Now, just because we don't eat them doesn't mean, because I see a lot of vegans, they're like, oh man, the meat cult. They think fruits and veggies are evil and the devil. I didn't say they're evil. I didn't say they're the devil. I just said that I don't eat them. That's my choice. If I had an orange right now on the camera, do I think I'm going to fall over or die or develop some sort of disease from that one orange? No. But do I want the orange and the sugar that's in it? No, man. That's my personal choice, but that choice does not come from a hatred. That choice actually comes from a love of my body and a love of my health, not from a hatred.
Right. Oh, I could go off on this one. I'll be nice. I think I I think fruit is a joke. And I get irritated when people, because on carnivore they're always like, oh, what about the fruit? Oh, you're not getting vegetables and fruit, like so dramatic about it. Yeah, oh,
Whoa.
you're gonna die. Fruit. Okay, let's look at fruit right now. I get this comment a lot too. An orange, like JT said, or an apple, it has been genetically modified 4,000 times to taste like a piece of candy. You bite into the apple or the orange and it spikes your blood sugars off the charts. They're nothing like, I get the comment sometimes too, well, what about the Bible? They had fruit and stuff in the Bible. The that's
Yeah, and they
that
also
doesn't
ate the
exist.
fruit and got their ass in trouble. I
Right.
hope you
But
guys remember that one.
the fruit that they mentioned in the Bible is non-existent today. The fruit that we have today is genetically modified. It's basically candy. And then the vegetable argument too, like I was saying, eat some lettuce, I get 14 calories, I get almost nothing out of it. One of the things I learned, I've been learning so much from, shout out Healing Humanity, Power of Proper Human Diet, but from Maggie, and then when we filmed Jeff, his good friend Dwight Garlow, that guy is just amazing. He said, you know what, Kerry, I believe vegetables are for medicine and they have a good purpose for medicine. But we don't eat medicine. You use medicine for ailments and issues, but we don't eat medicine. I think that's the purpose of vegetables. My thing is, if people say to me, why don't I eat vegetables? I haven't had a vegetable in 275 days. I get all of the nutrients I need out of meat. I don't need vegetables.
Carrie,
If I
you
was
got
lacking
scurvy,
something,
man. You got scurvy. Don't lie, man.
right? Yeah, just getting over it.
You know, and I feel like if Adam and Eve were carnivores, we wouldn't be in half this mess, man. They should have ate the damn snake instead of eating the fruit, man. They should have just took the snake off the tree, done a rick, man, cut its head off,
Right?
and threw it on the fire, man, and had some snake jerky.
Right. Tastes like chicken.
What doesn't taste like chicken? You got one for us?
Okay, here we go. The carnivore diet increases cancer risks.
If anything, it's going to get you out of the cancer ward.
Yeah, this is a tricky one. Dr. Chafee would, again, when you have him on, he knocks some of these out of the park. There's a lot of misinformation about eating meat and getting cancer, for one thing. The other thing that I do know, and again, this whole healing humanity journey, I've been so fortunate to talk to people, but Professor Seafried, that man is doing just groundbreaking work. And I always thought cancer was caused from genetics or a fluke, and we don't know why. And Professor Seafried taught me, no, in most cases, cancer is caused from damage to the mitochondria, oftentimes from chronic inflammation. And you can have chronic inflammation from smoking. You can have chronic inflammation from sniffing a bunch of chemicals and toxic things like that. Or you can have it, which most people do, I believe, from eating processed foods, sugar that's highly inflammatory, seed oils that are highly inflammatory, doing that for years and years and decades and decades. That's what's going to give you cancer. That's what I'm worried about if I was eating that way. I'm not worried about meat giving me cancer. Now, if I was eating all of that other standard American diet, sugar and processed foods, and then eating meat on top of it, maybe I'd be more worried. But the way I'm eating right now, I've eliminated that poor metabolic health. gives me a 6 times more likely chance of having heart disease and all sorts of other issues. I don't have poor metabolic health anymore, so I'm not worried about those things.
Yeah, no, and I get inspired watching a guy like Jeff DeProsperous. Shout out to Jeff, you guys. That dude, he inspires so many people, including me personally, man. I know he inspires you too, Carrie. He's the bomb, dude, man. And no offense, Carrie, but he's been one of my favorite interviews I had on Chatting with Carnivores. He switched his bucket hat so many times,
Yes.
man. He put thought into it, and then when I was talking to him, he was talking about how if he sees someone not having a good day, he smiles at them. Like, dude, this guy is whooping cancer's ass, man. He's not only whooping its ass so good, he's in great shape. He's helping other people smile and feel better. I mean, he's doing it all, man. He's going to his son's game. He's coaching. Just, man, I'm telling you, Carnivore Diet, it does not, man. It's a healing way of life. It's a healing way of eating, and it can heal cancer. I really believe that. I'm a firm believer it can heal cancer, especially with a good mindset. If you're refusing to give up and you want to keep living and you want to heal, I believe that with those right intentions, you can accomplish your goals.
Yeah, 100%. Jeff is on a journey to be cancer free. And some of the stuff you're saying, JT, I was so fortunate to witness firsthand. And it's not like just for the camera. He's like, oh, I've got a lot of energy. He had an incredible amount of energy for the week that we were there. Adam and I could barely keep up with him. It was one thing after the other after the other. I said this to him when he was there. I'm like, this is 100% the truth. More than any other person I've met my entire life, that man, Jeff DeProsperous, is living his life to the fullest. To the fullest. That man is truly living. And it's a sad thing in this world right now when you look around. There's a lot of people, they're just whatever. They're just getting by, but they're not living. They're not
And
truly
they don't
living.
even have cancer, and they're mad. They're mad at their life. They're pissed off. They're angry. They're not happy. And this dude is happy, and he's not pissed off. He's thriving, and he's showing everybody how to do it. He's literally the blueprint on not just how to beat cancer, man, but how to be a good person and how to live life to the fullest, man. So
Yes.
shout out to Jeff, man.
And his channel, too. Shout out to his channel, Blessings on My Journey. What an amazing name, too. He looks at everything as a blessing with gratitude. Man, I've learned so much from him, and I'm trying to do that. Like, every day I'm trying to do that, JT. Everything is a blessing. If you came in here right now and slapped me in the face, that would be a blessing. Everything.
Hey,
Literally everything.
if it wakes you up.
Right? Yeah.
No, you're not sleeping today on this live stream. You're doing good, Gary. I wouldn't slap you. Now, here's one. Carnivores cannot, did you do this one, achieve long-term sustainability?
No, not really. No. I talked about sustainability, but that was more about the environment. So
yeah,
carnivores,
I think we can sustain this diet for as long as we're alive. Now, listen, I'm not saying if you get on Carnivore Diet, and that's the other thing. I seen this article. She was like, oh, and the carnivores basically preach, like eternal life now that they found carnivore. Sorry that I'm feeling good. And because I'm feeling good, I want to live longer and see more and live more life. So because I want to live to 140, I mean, I don't know if I'll ever actually do it, but no, I know I'm going to eventually die one day from something. But I think the carnivore diet is going to help me sustain a happy, healthy lifestyle for a lot longer than the standard atrocious diet or any other diet would, in my opinion. So I think I can sustain life and wearing this bacon suit till I'm 140, whether they like it or not.
Yeah, 100%. And the difference too, JT, is you will be living your life in the moment and enjoying it versus what was your quality of life before this. I totally believe it's sustainable for a long time. Again, I keep giving these references, but we got Rick Charger Mopar been doing it for 40 years right now. Maggie, 82-year-old carnivore, and I asked her, and she wasn't exaggerating. She wasn't trying to show off for the camera. She's like, I am just getting started at 82. And I truly believe that statement. She is just getting started at 82. She was ripped, JT. I can't wait to show that part. I can't wait to show that part in the documentary. Maggie flexed for us on camera. You guys got to wait for the documentary, but she is just absolutely ripped. JT, is my sound coming through okay? Someone said I'm a little muffled.
No, they're all good. They got to clean that earwax out of the portholes.
Right here, I'll stay closer to the mic. Yeah, so I believe carnivore diet is sustainable long term. I know several people that have done it, and I know that's anecdote. You just named 3 or 4 people. There's civilizations of people, groups of people throughout the world right now and in the past. We've talked about them before. The Inuit. There's lots of different groups of people throughout mankind that have only eaten meat, shared a similar diet to this, and almost every one of them had incredible results. Like the Inuit being studied, like no cancer rates, living really long, things like that. So
Now, we still got a couple more to go through, but I want you guys in the comments here, a bunch of you guys are watching, start thinking of what your myth is that you hear a lot said about the carnivore diet, and we can bring it up here and we can talk about that myth and what actually happens, because we're 2 dudes on the carnivore diet. You guys watching, most of you probably are on the carnivore diet. Maybe some people are thinking about trying or haven't tried it, but most of the people are on the carnivore diet, and you guys know what is true and what's not. So like the comment section up here and let us know. Give us
Hey, JT, do I sound any different now?
yeah, you sound a little different, but both sounded just fine.
Okay, I switched my mic. David H. in the comments said he thinks I was on my webcam mic. You were right, sir. Thank you.
There you go. I'm on my webcam mic. Is that all right, David?
You sound great, JT. You sound fine.
Yeah, I want some myths from you guys. What are some myths that you guys heard that maybe me and Carrie haven't addressed yet, but we'll keep going through and give you guys some time to put them in the chat. And you got another one for us, Carrie?
I've got one. I don't know who said this, but I found this one online, and someone said the carnivore diet negatively, this one's a joke to me, but I got to say it, the carnivore diet negatively impacts mental health.
If anything, it's the exact opposite.
Right.
I had bad mental health when I felt like crap every day and didn't want to go anywhere for fun, didn't want to meet up with friends. I didn't want to even call anybody on the phone. I just didn't feel good. And my mental health was terrible at that point. And I'm not saying carnivore, if you just eat meat, you're just all of a sudden going to think healthy. You have to put in that effort too to think positive. But it helps when you're eating proper nutrition like meat, in my opinion.
Speaking of thinking and stuff, JT, I have a Stoic quote for you. It's one of my favorites. You want to hear it?
Let's go. I'm all wax ears.
We suffer more often in imagination than in reality.
Oh, yeah. We play the victim a lot more than we actually are victims. I honestly believe that. And, you know, when I didn't feel good, it was woe is me. I don't feel good. I don't feel good. But now I remember my coach said the worst things in life that happen to you set you up for the best things that could ever happen to you. So I'm glad that I got to a rock bottom point where I realized, okay, I was eating duck food. I was drinking beer and all that stuff. Like, I'm glad I got to a point where I didn't feel good because it helped me sober up and realize and smell the coffee to what I should be doing and the way I should be living. And now the rest of my days are going to be a lot better than a lot of suffering and pain and woe is me.
100%. And think of it this way too, JT. I was thinking about this the other day. Had you not suffered like that before, had I not suffered like that before, we probably wouldn't be here right now so passionate and fired up and excited for the solution to that suffering that we had before. If it was just like, it's all right, things are all right, and then we just found this and it was all right, we wouldn't be probably even talking about any of this right now.
You got that passion because it made an impact on you, and it made such a big impact because we were in such a bad spot in life. And when you finally start to heal and feel better, yeah, the carnivore diet made a huge impact on my life because of how well it made me feel, how good it treated me, how much it healed me. And I'm telling you, man, it's like, that's why there's those stories in the Bible of Jesus healing people, man. That made an impact on people. They don't just put that in there for nothing. So when your body gets healed, that makes an impact on you. And you just don't forget that. And you don't, at least me, I don't take that lightly. I feel so good. I want other people who maybe don't feel this good to feel better. It made such an impact on me. I know it can make an impact on them, and healing humanity is going to make an impact on them, on the whole entire world. I honestly believe that, man. It's going to make an impact everywhere.
It's like you have this knowledge and it's done so much for you. It would be immoral not to share it and try to shout it from the rooftops to other people. It's so funny. Shout out Adam Carnivore today. I did an interview with him. It's going to be on his channel in a little while, but we were talking about this a little earlier. And people are always like, Carrie, you're so passionate about carnivore. You're so excited. You're so fired up, so inspirational. It is because of that very reason JT just mentioned before. I was in such a dark and hopeless place for so long. It was like I was in a prison. I had depression, anxiety, sleep apnea. I'd sleep an hour at night, arthritis. I could barely step down on my foot. I was in horrible pain and depression for years. It was like I was in a prison, and now I'm free from the prison. How could I not be excited about my freedom? And how could I not want to share that with other people that are still in that prison and say, look, just do this and you can get out of the prison. So that's why I'm so passionate and fired up about carnivore and sharing it with other people, because it was such a dark place before. I always get, it's a little uncomfortable. I appreciate the comments, but it's always kind of funny when people say that. You're so inspirational. I'm like, man, if you would have just seen me a year ago or a couple of years ago, or when I was at the depths of the depression, it's completely polar opposites. So,
And my coach taught me this story about how when you finally make it out of, let's say you were shackled in a dungeon and you finally make it out of there and you see the light of day for the first time. You're literally shackled in this dungeon your entire life, and you finally get off the shackles. You walk out of the dungeon and you see light and you see trees and a beach and people running. And you see all this beautiful stuff. Would you run back down into the basement if you dropped a shoe or you forgot something? There's nothing in you that's going to want to go back to your old way of life. And it's tough when you have that enthusiasm that you've seen the light. You know what I'm saying? You're out of the dungeon. And if there's anybody else who is in that dungeon with you, and if you try to go back and tell them, they think you're out of your mind or something because you got so much enthusiasm. They're like, well, you couldn't have seen much, man, because this dungeon that's what reality is to them. And
yes,
it's hard for them to get past that dungeon. When you've been in the dungeon, made your way out, then you try to come down and reach your hand to pull them out, and they're like, nah, there's just no way it can be that sunny up there. I'm not making this up, man. Carnivore diet is the way to go, man. You're going to see the light. You're going to feel good. And I don't mean that in like a weird culty way, okay? Like, see the light as in, man, I feel better. I feel refreshed. I feel like me again.
Right.
And you look crazy when you try to explain that to people because they're still in the dungeon and they don't believe there's even a sun or trees or anything because they haven't seen it. It's tough.
Yep. The dungeon is their reality and it's all they know. The one last thing on the dungeon, JT, I like this analogy sort of thing. When people say, oh, what are you going to do Christmas time? Are you going to cheat? Are you going to have a cookie? Are you going to have this? For me, the answer is hell no, because I don't want to go back to that dungeon. That's what got me in the dungeon in the first place. And I'm not shaming people when I say that, because I know people fall off of carnivore and they go right back on it and they're fine. And some people, like Dr. Barry said, some people have the carb dial and they can handle some carbs. I have the carb switch. It's on or off. I can't handle any carbs. I cheated many, many, many times when I did keto.
Carrie.
And I suffered, JT, every time I cheated on keto. This was years ago. I felt horrible. I never cheated and was like, yay, I feel great now. I deserve that. So for me, I'm never cheating on carnivore. I have committed. I'm full on carnivore for the rest of my life. I'm never going to have another fruit, never going to have another vegetable. And this will be the only liquid I ever drink. The only thing I drink in 275 days is water. It's the only thing I'm going to drink for the rest of my life. I have no problem with it. I'm happy with it. And, yeah, I think that dungeon analogy is a good one because I don't want to go back there.
Yeah, and what you were talking about, how you're never going back, you made a committed decision. And other people too, they're like, well, how does Carrie have that type of discipline? Other people have that type of discipline. They just don't think they do. Like, if you've ever been married, you decided to make a committed decision to one person. Like, this idea of making a committed decision shouldn't be too far out there, but it kind of is for some people. And I'm not getting on nobody saying, that maybe fell off, but like, we've made committed decisions before. We've decided, okay, I'm going to fill out an application for this job, this place. That's a committed decision. If they call you in and say, yeah, would you like to start Monday? Sure. That's a committed decision. Now, maybe you don't have to stick that forever, but you still made that committed decision and did it. And that's what the success is in the diet. You have to make the decision in life. Like, no one's going to make the decision for you. You have to decide that you don't want to go back to that dungeon. Yeah, there's a couple of them popping out. Carnivore is not for old people. That's a
Oh,
lie, man. That's a lie. You just had some guy on there, and not only that guy, my gramps is 93 and he was on carnivore. He switched to keto just because he likes a little variety. I guess he still is a little naughty, but he's more ketovore. He eats mostly meat, but once in a while he'll have something else. But my grandfather, my personal grandfather, 93, and he's thriving on keto and ketovore. So I think that's just straight up false, Carrie. What do you think? That it's not for old people?
shout out JT's grandpa too. I love the videos you do with your grandpa. Those are always fun. Yeah, complete myth, completely false. In fact, a couple of the first videos I did with, and I hate saying old people. Like, I think it's all relative. People that are older than me or whatever. But I've had so many comments on my channel. I've done so many carnivore YouTube videos now. I mean, we're talking millions of views. I'm not trying to pat myself on the back, but just to show the scale, thousands and thousands and thousands of comments have come through, and a ton of them have been from people in their 60s, 70s, 80s, thriving on carnivore. It's memorable to me because every time I see it, it puts a big smile on my face. Because in my head, JT, I'm like, geez, if I was 80 years old, I can't imagine changing 80 years of living and switching to the carnivore diet. That's awesome. Like, and they're every one of them, they're like, it's amazing. It's incredible. Like, the aches and pains are gone. And that was just inflammation. I'm like, well, it makes sense. And I hear it over and over and over again. And again, 82-year-old carnivore Maggie, she's just getting started. She's absolutely ripped. She's jumping over fences. She's managing a whole cattle farm. And it's definitely is sustainable. And it's such a sad thing that you get older and you work your entire life and you want to retire. And then you have these mobility issues and aches and pains. And it doesn't have to be that way from what I've seen and heard from many, many people practicing it themselves.
And I check my analytics, and since I started doing carnivore, my carnivore videos, the biggest audience is in their 60s on my videos. So I don't know. I wouldn't consider that old by any means. My coach died when he was 89, and he thought anybody in their 60s was a spring chicken. But you're not too old to start carnivore. I mean, I see this all the time. People are like, oh, I wish I would have found it earlier. I don't know if you see that all the time. Like, oh, I started so late. It's like, don't beat yourself up. There are some people who never heard about this diet, and they are gone now. They passed away this morning. Some people didn't wake up this morning, folks, and we did. So we need to stop beating ourselves up, and we need to start getting in harmony with everything, and that includes our diet. Eating meat like it's been done. This isn't a fad. This has been done since the beginning of the time, and we just have to get in harmony with that. And it doesn't matter whether you're old or young. And I was just saying, my biggest carnivore audience is in their 60s. So, and I told my wife, I said, well, I said, most of the ladies I'm attracting, and it says my biggest audience on my analytics is ladies.
And it's a bacon suit. What are you going to do?
Yeah, I guess women love bacon, body by bacon, but my audience is women in their 60s. And I told my wife, I said, better look out. I said, they're coming. They're coming. They're on carnivore and they're not slowing down. So
nice.
No, you can be plenty old as they say. But it's just, I think age is just a number. It's just in your mind. My gramps, he was driving a convertible, having a cell phone and a girlfriend just until he just stopped driving, but he does everything else that he wants to do. Cell phone, girlfriend. It's all in your mind, man. You're 93. Get it, man. He's alive, and girls like him. So,
right.
Who's he to turn him down,
A bunch of comments just came through from folks that are saying, I'm in my 70s and doing carnivore. I'm 75 and doing carnivore. That's awesome.
That's great. That's awesome. Here's another one, Carrie. You'll be constipated on the carnivore diet.
Right.
Oh, you're eating all that steak, man. You're gonna get backed up. I mean, I have maybe it's too much, but I have a regular bowel movement every day, folks. I've had one every day on the carnivore diet. There hasn't been a day where I missed a bowel movement. I'm honest with you guys. If there was a week when I first started, be like, well, I didn't use the bathroom for like the first couple of days. No, man, I use the bathroom every day. I have no problems with it. I feel great down there. Before, I had a lot of bathroom issues before carnivore. Either I would be constipated or I'd have diarrhea. But now everything is just the same every day. So I don't know where they're, and that's obviously something, in my opinion, that someone who's not on carnivore came up with. They're just making an assumption about people that they see online eating meat only. They're like, well, they've got to be jacked up.
Right? Yeah, same here. Perfectly regular and normal on carnivore. And I wasn't before. It's always the opposite, these things. It's funny.
I had
Because
to take probiotics to use the bathroom regularly before the
right?
carnivore diet. Now I don't take probiotics, and everything is just good, man.
Most of these myths, JT, we could just take the word carnivore out and put standard American diet in there, and then it'll be true. You will be constipated on the standard American diet, because I had constipation on standard American diet. I haven't had it in 275 days on carnivore. I'm just
Because
fine.
I was eating so much duck food that my body just didn't want, and I could only quack out so much at a time, and you just get backlogged. I'm telling you, carnivore is the way to go. No, you do not get constipated. If anybody is watching this and they haven't tried the carnivore diet yet, and you're wondering if it's going to get you constipated, take it from me and Carrie. You're not gonna be constipated. What about this one? You'll get a heart attack. Someone's watching. And they're like, well, what if I get a heart attack on this diet?
Yeah. Again, I have to go with the facts and the truth. Philip Ovadia, heart surgeon, done 4,000 heart procedures on people, also a carnivore. He taught me you're 6 times more likely to have heart disease if you have poor metabolic health, if you're eating a lot of sugar and carbs and processed junk food. 6 times more likely versus if you have increased cholesterol numbers from eating meat. Everyone in the world should be worried about metabolic health and inflammation, and nobody is, because we're so brainwashed and everyone's worried about getting the heart attack thing. You got to look at the truth and the facts.
Yeah, I hate to break it to him, but Rick's been trying for 40 years, folks, and he's been put up one dud after another every day, man. No heart attack, another day. Maybe tomorrow, man.
One of these days. Come on, Rick.
Rick, maybe put it on the Christmas list this year. Maybe Santa will bring your ass a heart attack this year. I highly doubt it, but
the heart attack chicken. I mean, he's trying everything.
Yeah, and Rick is the greatest example, though. He's got a great attitude. He's a great person. And he's proof that this diet is just not going to kill you. It's going to make you thrive. And he's just such a character. I enjoy Rick a lot. But no, you're not going to get a heart attack. Last time I felt like I was getting a heart attack was when I watched Stitch. I cried so much. It was a heart attack to me because it was attacking my heart. I was all in my feelings. I thought, you ever see Stitch?
No.
I thought the Disney movie, I thought they killed his little ass at the end. And I was like, why? Why would you kill Stitch? I actually cried. That was the last movie I watched where I cried. Myth: the vegan diet is the only diet proven to extend life long term. Oh, come on. I can tell you Moses was not a vegan. I guarantee Moses was not a vegan.
Yeah, when Adam and I were out in Chicago, we filmed Dr. Tony Hampton, and I was editing some of that today for Healing Humanity, the pre-movie trailer we're putting together.
Let's go!
Yes. Shout out Dr. Tony Hampton. That man is incredible and amazing. I can't wait to share his words with the world. But he was talking about the Blue Zones documentary on Netflix, and he was talking about Hong Kong and how much meat they eat in Hong Kong. And their life expectancy is one of the top in the world. And they eat more meat, I think, than we do in the U.S. I'm going to misquote it if I say exactly what he said, but yeah, it's completely, there's so much misinformation out there. That's what I hate with some of the vegan stuff and the Blue Zone stuff. When you really dig into that, a lot of it's propaganda and it's half-truths and it's skewing things. And I'm trying to be very careful when I speak and when we do this documentary to just share the truths. If something isn't the truth, I don't want to put it in there. I don't want to have some sort of bias or agenda in telling people things. And unfortunately, there's a lot of documentaries and things out there that do that on the plant-based side.
That article I was reading, she was even talking about, this lady wrote the article is saying how these carnivore diet before and after photos are so misleading and you can't believe them. I'm like, and she says, and there's no proof or science behind this diet. Maybe the studies aren't there, but how could you look at Carrie and tell me that there's no proof or backing for what I'm talking about? How could you look at Todd, the carnivore cure? How could you look at Bill? How could you look at Maggie? How could you look at any of these people and tell me that there's no proof? That's why I love, okay, so we don't have studies. All these YouTube channels I'm subscribed to, those are the studies, man. I know they're not official, but in this article, they were like, well, they push this on people and there's no real studies. We don't have the studies yet. But I'm not pushing anything on anybody. I'm just simply telling people what I'm doing and how it's making me feel. And if that excites the hell out of you like it excited me, then awesome. But if it doesn't, okay, then that's fine. But like this isn't medical advice, and I'm not being pushy, but like to say like there's no proof, you know, like you can literally look at people, your fellow carnivores here, and see them change month after month on their videos, and they're telling me that there's just nothing to back up what we're saying, like we just pulled this out of our ass. I don't
Right.
just wanna
Well,
test it.
the study thing is so frustrating too, because studies cost a lot of money to do any study. So almost every study that's done is done so that there's this at the end of it. Some drug company can sell a drug and make millions of dollars. What happens if they do
That's
a
why
big
they're paying
study?
for the study, because there's more money to be made than the study costed.
And what money is going to be made from someone doing a study on carnivore that then goes to tell people just eat the proper foods that you're supposed to eat and don't eat this processed junk. Don't take any medication. Don't take any pills, and you're going to feel better than you have your ever life. They're never going to make any money off of that. So that's the reason. The thing with the studies that's interesting, though, is I know like Dr. Baker, I think, is working on some for Rivero. So hopefully there's some coming down the pipeline. But the fact that there aren't studies, and people always pose that out there, there's no big study for carnivore. Yeah, that's the problem. There's no big study because all of the other studies are funded by drug companies with a bias to sell a drug, or they're funded by the sugar companies. Or there's so many studies out there too. You look at and you really dig into it, and it's like Kellogg sponsored it. And oh, by the way, it says meat's bad. Well, if you want to sell a lot of sugar in Kellogg's, you just tell people meat are bad. And what's the alternative? They're going to have salad for a couple of days, get sick of it, and then they're going to be eating processed junk and sugar again.
Hey, we may not have the studies, but like Chafee says, we've got the history. And when you go back and look at the history of how people have eaten and how their health has been, you know, the obesity rate, you can tell. Like, honestly, I think the study's already been done. You know, like people look at the obesity rate when they would just eat meat and animal products and stuff. Like, you know, like even the ranchers who started this country and the cowboys and stuff, like they weren't eating Cheetos and all this stuff, man. They needed to work hard on the farm. And some people, then I've heard other people tell me, they're like, well, those people died at a young age too. Yeah, man, if you had to go take a poo and a piss out negative 32 degrees, I'm talking negative 32, not 32 degrees, which is freezing. I'm talking Wisconsin. We get like negative 32, negative 64. You're going out to use the bathroom, and then you got to take care of the animals and wash your clothes. Like, they lived hard. And I don't think they could have lived that hard had they not been eating the proper food. You know, if they were eating duck food on that lifestyle, man, they would have passed away at like 15.
Right.
It's just what about this one? Carnivore causes gout.
Oh,
you know,
again,
maybe not. I don't know. I don't have gout.
I say no. I say 100% no.
Carnivore Bubba Rob, he still has issues with his gout, and he's on carnivore. So that's why I say I don't know, because I know one guy who's still kind of so help us out here, you know.
I guess everyone's different. Dr. Barry, I think, did an excellent video on carnivore and gout and how it's completely backwards. I was diagnosed with gout. It was kind of the straw that broke the camel's back for me. I think in retrospect, I didn't have gout. I think it was just inflammation. But whatever that was, gout or inflammation, it's completely gone on carnivore diet. I know I'm anecdotal, but I have heard that story over and over again. Shaun White, intentional carnivore, Todd Bachnis, like time and time and time again, people that had gout that overcame it on carnivore diet. Yeah, I think Dr. Barry did a really good video explaining the reasoning behind that more.
I don't have gout, so I really can't speak on that one, folks. What about carnivore is so expensive? You know, it's actually so not. If, in my opinion, you can get Carnivore Soldier was talking about, you get like $40 worth of ground beef for like a week. And if you want to get even cheaper than that, you know, if $40 for the week is too much money, go heart attack chicken. I got 6 pounds, 5.5, 6 pounds of chicken the other day for $15. And that'll last me all week, man. I'm telling you. So you literally, I think you could eat for a week of carnivore for $15, $20. And if you wanted to go ground beef, $40. Maybe if that ground beef was grass fed, you might be up to $60. But
Yep.
I don't think it's expensive at all.
No, people that say carnivore is expensive, they don't understand and they don't do the proper true math. I think a lot of people, JT, when they're thinking carnivore is going to be expensive, they're thinking of it from the standard American mindset of breakfast, lunch, dinner with 14 snacks in between it.
Yeah,
We
and
don't do that on
I'm having
carnivore.
ribeyes 3 times a day. Give me a break, dude.
Right. We're not eating as many meals as the standard American diet. There was a period of time where I had 1 meal a day. But you have to do the honest math, and on the standard American diet, people don't do that. Think about this. Before carnivore on the standard American diet, I would or just the general public, they would go in the morning and have Starbucks. What is that, $8-10? Or you'd stop at the gas station every single time. I used to do this, get a big diet Mountain Dew. Oh, I got to grab my snacks. I'm at the gas station.
Starbucks
Breakfast.
is like $8.50 for one coffee when you could have spent another $1 for $9.50 and gotten a ribeye.
Right? Breakfast, and then you got your snack 2 hours later because you're hungry, and then you got your lunch. After dinner, what do you have? Oh, I got to have dessert. On the weekends, you're going out to eat, getting pizza. Maybe you're going to get some beers with the friends at the bar. I don't do any of that on carnivore. Yes, ribeyes are expensive, and I eat a lot of them, but when you really do the true math, it's significantly less expensive than the standard American diet. And really do the math. JT, you know how expensive all of these were? Co-pays, doctor visits, trip to the doctor over and over again. 275 days, I haven't had to go to the doctor for anything. I don't have any prescriptions. I don't have any co-pays. I don't have any doctor visits. I have endless energy. I'm getting way more done. So it's way less expensive on like a million fronts.
Yeah, and you're killing it, Kerry. I'm so proud of you, man. You had your handful of issues, man, more than I did, and you just bounced back, and you're such a good example for everybody, man. I absolutely love you, man.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. I absolutely love you too, JT. You're the best.
You guys, this has been a blast. Should we wrap it up, Kerry?
Yeah, sure.
It's up to you. If you want to keep going, you keep going. Whatever you want, buddy.
I'm free. If we got a couple more questions, I'm happy to take them. Otherwise, if we've answered them all, I'm good too.
Okay, yeah. Do you guys got any more myths you'd like us to talk about? I'm going through. I'm trying to find them right now. There's tons of you guys in the comments. So, yes, no, it's not expensive at all. It's all in your mindset, man. If you're gonna think like Donald Trump and you want a ribeye for every meal, then I guess you're probably going to be spending some money. And speaking of that guy, who do you think eats more steaks, Biden or Trump?
Jeez, I don't know.
I would say Trump, man. He's falling asleep less. Biden seems tired all the time. I don't think he's getting enough ribeye.
Right.
Here you go. Yeah, let us know too. Who eats more steaks, man? Trump or Biden? Here's a question for Kerry.
You're gonna light up the comments with that question.
Yeah, I think Trump eats more steaks than Biden, man. He's just a little less sleepy, but they're both old, man. I'm sure they all get a fair amount of sleep in it.
Right. Imagine,
Kerry,
JT, you just made me think of something. Imagine if we had a carnivore president. Oof.
I actually Googled that today to see if there's ever been a president that's eaten carnivore. Nothing came up.
Yeah. Or keto.
The only thing that came up was Venus flytraps and meat eating plants, they said. I was like, what?
Right. Well, hey, you mentioned Larry Carnivore Soldier a couple seconds ago. I got to shout out Larry Carnivore Soldier. The work he's doing over on his channel is absolutely
Mission
amazing.
Carnivore, you guys. Mission Carnivore. That's his new mission in life now that he's not in the service anymore. And thank you guys. We should all thank him and everybody else for their service.
100%. Yeah, check him out. He mentioned in one of his videos a while back, imagine if the entire army was carnivore. Like what next level they would be. Clarity, brain, thinking, energy. That would be something. Imagine if we had a president that was carnivore.
We're going to need that for when we fight the aliens, Kerry. Everybody has to be on carnivore. Otherwise, we're going to get whooped.
Right.
Here's a question for you, Kerry. Are you planning on any more live stream marathons? Ooh, give them the juice, Kerry. That's a lot of ribeye juice to spill.
It's very interesting question. On one hand, I'm having a little PTSD from the 24-hour live stream. Shout out, JT. How are you feeling from that one still? Did you regain any sleep after that one?
I think I still got a bruise on my ass.
Yeah, me too. That was a lot of fun, though. I'm so glad we did that.
I'm still in my bacon suit, man. I haven't recovered yet. Mentally, I feel like I'm still there.
Well, yes. Was it yesterday? Yes, yesterday I launched a video about depression, anxiety. Shout out JT. Shout out Larry Carnivore Soldier. So many other people that shared their story.
Jeff, Todd, Ellie.
Todd Bachnis, Ellie. Yeah. Oh my goodness. I could probably name them all if I took a second here with my carnivore brain. But JT, that was my 924th video I've done on YouTube. And I
Wow.
truly believe I haven't worked harder on another video. And the people that submitted the stories too, I really hope more people watch and share that video, because my only goal, my only intention in saying any of that is to help people that are in that dungeon we talked about earlier, that are hopeless and anxious. There's millions of people right now as we speak that are literally hopeless. And this is the only thing they're giving them, giving a little hope. And unfortunately, that doesn't work for most people. So I'm hoping people will get that video out and share that video. But long story short, I was thinking about doing a depression, anxiety, mental health focused live stream.
Let's go.
I'm totally up for it. I just, I don't know if I want to do a 24-hour one. Maybe we don't need to do a 24-hour one.
Man, half a day is awesome, man. And it shows a lot of care, because if you're just streaming for an hour, it's like, okay, it's 2 hours, all right. But if you're saying, hey, we're going for a whole half a day because this topic is important, we're going to be talking for hours about this topic because it is important. You literally could save someone's life if they see this and they were literally maybe about to commit suicide or something. They don't feel good, or they're depressed, like this could save a life. I think it's super important.
Well, and I was thinking, all of the wonderful folks that sent their clips to me that are in that video we just mentioned, we just got a snippet of their story. So we could have them come back individually and tell a little bit more of their story, do Q&A, and
awesome.
That would be pretty cool. And then maybe have some experts or specialists come in. So in that video, I had
Dr. What do you guys think about that idea? Would you guys like to see that? A mental health marathon?
Ooh, a mental health marathon. I didn't even think of calling it that. That's good.
Oh, I got all the ideas, Carrie. Just stick with the bacon suit, man. You'll be fine.
Jan Smith said, do it. Don't do 24 hours, but just a few videos. Yeah, 24 hours is a little bit much. I want to make it special and interesting. The thing with the 24-hour too, though, is I think more people would tune in if it's just dedicated. Here's a couple hours focused versus the 24-hour one's nice because you could be like, oh, I'll come in at 9 when Dr. Barry's on or someone like that. But maybe we do this and we get a couple of the specialists. In that video, we had Dr. Barry, Dr. Chafee, and Dr. Tony Hampton. But there's some other. If
we do it on a Friday, we might be able to get Chafee in on it.
Yeah. Yeah,
I'm sure he's got a lot of great words of wisdom when it comes to mental health and carnivore. I guarantee it.
For sure. That whole video, too, by the way, it was sort of a dress rehearsal precursor for the documentary. Like, let's kind of flush this out, see what works and see what resonates with people. I'm getting really, really good feedback on that video, and the numbers on YouTube when people are watching it, they're staying and watching a lot more of it than any other video. So that's always good to see. The only thing that's kind of disappointing is not a lot of people are clicking it like my other videos. And I get it because the thumbnail, there's like 25 people on the thumbnail, so maybe it was a little too busy. And I've got Dr. Barry Baker or Dr. Barry Chafee and Dr. Hampton on there, so maybe I'll change the thumbnail. You can
always still change the thumbnail, and then it goes right. Mr. Beast does that. He'll get an extra 200,000-300,000 views on a video just by switching the thumbnail.
Yeah, maybe I'll switch it up a little bit because that's just my thing. I'm like, I did a video last night with a gentleman, and that video already has more views than the depression one. And the video I did with the gentleman last night was awesome, but I'm like, this depression one is so important. We got to get it out to this
work on that, dude. I want to see that have 1 million views at least.
Yeah. Oh, a bunch of people in the comments saying they shared it. So thank you for doing that. I appreciate it. That's the only way I think we'll really get it out there is if we share it and maybe a loved one or a friend of a loved one on Facebook or something happens to see it and maybe it helps them or plants a seed and gives them some hope and something to think about for sure.
It's very important. I think we got a winner, which Biden or Trump, who eats more steak. I don't know if either of them are carnivore. I highly doubt either are carnivore, but I can tell who probably eats a little bit more steak than the other one.
Shout out Ellie, Nourishment Redacted. She's in the comments too. She said, yeah, I noticed people don't watch carnivore mental health videos, which is a shame. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think the problem is I think a lot of people take mental health for granted on carnivore. You still have to work on your mental health. Just because you're eating proper diet now does not mean you can just coast and put it in neutral. I mean, you just can't do that, man. You have to keep your hands on the wheels. You have to control your thoughts. You have to think positive. You have to go after your goals. You have to set goals and then go after them. If we're not doing all these things and stretching and growing, we're going to have problems, even mental health problems, even on carnivore. But carnivore will help you heal, but you still need to keep your hands on the wheels, in my opinion. What do you think, Harry?
100%. Yeah. It's a constant. That's what life's all about, right? We're constantly learning and constantly growing and got to stay on top of things.
Absolutely. Dr. Chafee for president. There you go. Rick for president.
Rick,
Now,
yes. 40-year carnivore. Let's go.
iguanas for everyone. Who needs a stimulus, man, when we can get, and then that takes care of Florida's iguana problem.
Rick, iguanas for everyone.
That would be, what a world we'd live in if Rick was president, Oh, yeah, Ellie, I see you're in there. Okay, there you go. Yes, thank you. Hot in your bacon suit. Well, thank you. I'm sizzling. Yeah, anxiety sucks, man. That's why that video is so important, because anxiety, it gets suppressed. Mm-hmm. And when it's suppressed, it turns to depression. And depression turns to disease, and disease eventually leads us to death. Yes. So anxiety is nothing to mess around with, man. And it's nothing, it needs to, instead of suppressing it, we need to express it and release it, just feel those emotions and then move on. I wouldn't even dwell, like, there's nothing wrong with therapy, but my coach would tell people, instead of taking therapy for 6 months and thinking about something bad that happened to you, spend that 6 months on something that's just going to excite the hell out of you, makes you jump out of bed. And for the lady, my coach taught that too. She started a program where they make schools in Africa, schools that actually have electricity, a lunch, hot meals. They have tampons for the girls, because sometimes when they're on their period, they can't go to school. They have everything they need, because most of the times when they build a school in Africa, they'll just put up 4 walls and there's no lights or anything. And they're like, well, how come no one's using it? But my point is, though, don't accept anxiety and depression, because if that lady did, then she wouldn't be helping all these kids open these schools, because she said no to anxiety. She said no to depression. She was going to focus on something that was good for her. So eat healthy and keep your mind focused on positive things.
The anxiety thing too, my goodness, I've heard so many stories of people reversing anxiety on carnivore, myself included. Back to my quote I shared earlier, we suffer more often in imagination than in reality. That was the truth for anxiety. And the last thing with anxiety that's so crazy is, like, humans are not meant to live that way. Anxiety is there for a purpose. Like, if a lion runs out here and tries to attack me or something, then there's a purpose for it. But just constantly being anxious every single day about every single event is not the way humans were meant to live. And
it's a flight response, and to be stuck in a flight response all the time, that's, man, how unnerving, unsettling, uneasy. Just
your heart's racing. Yeah,
just be stuck in that vibration when you don't need to. So I feel for anybody suffering with anxiety. I've had panic attacks in the past, and that was pre-carnivore. Now that I'm on carnivore, I haven't had any panic attacks. Maybe if I go to the store and there's sale on ribeyes and there's only one left, and I realized I could have been there earlier, I might have a slight panic attack then. But otherwise, no, I'm doing good. Yes to the marathon, Carrie. I'll sign up first. Let's go, Stacy. Stacy, babe, thank you. Yes, there you go. A mental health marathon. Let's go, dude. I think the demand is there for it. You guys, and I'm talking, you guys, we need big support like we got for the 12-hour stream, like we got for the 24-hour live stream. We need you guys to show up and show out, because that's what we're here for, man. We might be small, but we're a very vocal crowd, and we can make a difference if we just remember that there's power in numbers. You guys seen the movie 300, right? There was only 300 of them, but man, did they make a big impact. And you guys just can't forget your power, and especially the power of a decision, right, Carrie? How powerful is it that you made the decision to start the carnivore diet, and look how much your life has changed, man. Like, you've got so many friends now. You've got passion projects. Like, the girls are gone carnivore. They're always happy and smiling now. They're feeling good. Jen's looking amazing. I mean, everything is just turned around, dude.
Yeah, it's amazing. Hey, shout out the girls. Emma just launched, well, she had a YouTube channel for a while, but she posted her first video today, and it was shout out again. Right? Shout out Carnivore Soldier Larry. He inspired us. Well, we meant to do it for a while, but he sent me a video he did. Emma did a video on getting our dogs and her beloved cat, Carnivore, And so today was their first carnivore meal as dogs. I'm so excited about that. But
Oh, I think your excitement's gonna go away, man, when you got to clean up shit off the floor. That's what happened to me, Carrie. No, I'm not trying to be rude to anybody, but my dogs, when we switched them to carnivore, I had to clean up the carpet so many times.
I'm not looking forward to that. But I'm taking it. I took Adam's like, take it easy and wean them into it. So I'm doing that. We did half and half. We're going to do that for like 2 weeks. So hopefully they'll be okay.
When carnivore, I was like, bro, dude, get out the Swiffer wet jet.
Well, one thing, JT, I don't know if you know this. I was just talking to my mom about this. A lot of people don't know this, but dogs on carnivore, you got to be really careful with the fat. Humans need a ton of fat on carnivore. Dogs need a lot less.
Yeah, they need lean meat. Like if they were in the wild, they'd be eating like squirrels, chickens, birds, stuff with really lean meat. They're not like, you're not going to get a golden retriever taking down like an ox or something.
Exactly.
Gary, what's the difference? What makes an ox and not a cow? Do you know?
I don't know.
I don't know either. I've been asking how come no carnivores know what an ox is? I got a video coming out where I took a local carnivore, Ellen, to the butcher shop, and she was asking me what an ox is. I was like, girl, I have no idea. You're asking the wrong. I'm more like an ass, but I'm not an ox. I'm an ass because I don't know what an ox is.
I just Googled it. It said an ox is primarily a draft animal. So it pulls plows and stuff like that. Cow is primarily used for milk.
Interesting.
Oh,
well, you guys are pulling the workload at work, man. Tell your boss you're sick of being an ox.
An ox is male. Nancy Chandler.
Okay.
Yeah.
Man. Here's
Shame
a
on us
for you, Carrie. Have you heard from Bill Knott? Because he hasn't posted a video in over a week. Hope all is well with him. He was just in here, so I know the man is alive and thriving.
Yes, Bill is wonderful. I talk to Bill multiple times a day. He's doing great. He is working really hard on a video. He was in the comments earlier, and he said he's uploading the video now, but it's a long video. So shout out Bill Knott. Everyone's got to check out that video. It's a little bit later than normal, but he's really been working hard on this. He's got some exciting stuff he's putting into this video. So, hey, the timing of this is probably going to work out because it'll probably be up and loaded by the time we're done on this call. So everyone can go over there and check out Bill's video. But yeah, he's doing well. I talk to him every single day.
Here's another question for you, Carrie. We'll try to get through them quick here. As a 32-year-old that has to take a beta blocker for high heart rate and blood pressure medicine as well, do you think carnivore would help? Been dabbling, sorry.
So again, I'm not a doctor. This is how I like to phrase it. If I was a 32-year-old taking a beta blocker for high heart rate and I had high blood pressure medicine, I would 100% be doing carnivore with what I know now. I believe carnivore is the proper human diet that everyone should be doing. So that would be my answer for sure. And one thing I'll add real quick is I had all sorts of heart issues on carnivore, including an irregular heartbeat that is normalized. And one really important thing I've learned from a heart surgeon, Philip Ovadia, is when in ketosis, the heart performs much more efficiently than when you're burning sugar for fuel. Much more efficiently. And I think that's why my irregular heartbeat reversed. I also have a low ejection fraction and congestive heart failure for years. This isn't a carnivore thing. This was before carnivore. I believe I've reversed some of that. I can't prove that. I have a cardiologist appointment. I'm going to do the tests. I'm going to share them, good or bad or whatever happened. But I used to be so tired, so fatigued. I would stand up and walk to the bathroom and I would be losing my breath. All of that is gone now. So I know the heart performs much more efficiently while in ketosis. So for that reason, too, as a 32-year-old, I would definitely be doing carnivore.
And here's a last one or two more we do quick here. A myth. Carnivores disregard fiber and gut health. I wanted to bring that one up because I have better gut health now than I ever did. I had to take probiotics because all of the carbs and junk food I was eating made my gut so unhealthy that I felt terrible. And the only way to feel halfway better while still eating the duck food was taking probiotics. And I took probiotics for the first 30 days I was on carnivore. And then ever since, I have not taken any probiotics because it healed my gut. That first month literally healed my guts. So no, I don't think we ignore gut health. What about your gut, Carrie? Is it healthy or not?
100% healthy. One of the incredible things on carnivore is you get to this point where you just don't really feel your stomach anymore. And my entire life,
not feel it.
Yeah, my entire life, I've always felt my stomach, or it was always heavy, or bloated or hurting or something, but there's always this weight here. One time, a couple of years ago, I did a fast on the standard American diet, 5 days. And on day 5, I felt that feeling of just lightness. Like my stomach doesn't feel like it's there anymore. And I feel like that all the time on carnivore because my stomach isn't working nonstop to process all of that incredible amount of garbage and waste food I used to put into it. JT, think about that real quick. We wasted so much money before on all of that junk food, but all of the energy our body had to expend to process all of that junk, like, oh, there's Diet Mountain Dew, Doritos, ice cream. Oh, I'm just done processing that. Are there toxins? Is there anything I'm allergic to in there? Is there anything my immune system needs to react to? Now it's just meat. So my stomach is like my body overall is using so much less energy because it doesn't have to process all of that stuff.
Every action has a reaction. That's a natural universal law. It doesn't matter what planet you go to in this universe, you're going to have to deal with that law. Every action has a reaction. And if you put 60 different things in your gut, you're going to have 60 different reactions by law. So,
Right.
And these people are like, well, and I even told you guys earlier that doctor said, well, you can still have the problem foods, just a little bit less of it. No,
Right.
man, just get rid of the problem foods. If it's a problem for you, why not just get rid of it and feel better instead of just being like, well, now I only suffer this much. That's ridiculous. Now on carnivore, I don't suffer at all. And Dr. Tony said the same thing. You never know how good your stomach feels when you don't feel your stomach.
Yes.
That's the best way to have your stomach feel is when you just don't feel it.
I asked Dr. Tony Hampton, I was like, when did you know carnivore was like right for you? And he said, one day I didn't feel my stomach anymore. And he had IBS before that. And that was and then he's like, then I noticed the mental changes and the clarity and all these other things. So yeah. And just the last thing real quick, those 60 things we were talking about that you put in your body, waste, right? Then what happens with 99% of it? Right down the toilet. So like what an incredible waste of money, waste of time, and waste of energy your body has to expend for
and you
decades.
For the toilet paper too, and everybody was fighting over that because everybody's shitting out all this damn duck food everywhere, man.
Right. But for 43 years, my body had to expend all that energy to process stuff that ultimately was just waste going down the toilet. What a toll on my body. And then I wondered, why was I fatigued and tired?
They suggest to have the fiber. Well, that's all it's doing is just your body doesn't even want it. That's why it expels it. It doesn't even want it. It doesn't want it in there. It's why it kicks it out as quick as it can.
Doesn't need it, doesn't want it.
And your body's using up energy to kick out something that was just pointless to put in there in the first place. So eat a ribeye and let your body use energy to gain energy. Does that make sense?
For sure.
We can end this one on Ellie's. How does that sound, Carrie?
Yeah, sure.
Nourishment Redacted. Ellie, how you doing, girl? Question, fact or myth? Do carnivore kids eat more than standard American diet kids? Yes, they steal your food off your plate if you're not paying attention. My son, now that we switched him to carnivore, he eats like a barbarian.
William, I saw your video the other day. He was grabbing it off your plate. I was like, yeah, good little carnivore.
Yeah, I ordered a steak and they'll eat. It's funny when we go out to eat, they'll be like, and what does he want? I'm like, well, he's eating what I'm eating. Whatever steak I get, I split with my boy. And if I'm still hungry, I make sure he's full. And then I eat with little, and then if I want, I've got all that stuff at home. So I'll just cook another steak or eat some bacon at home. But I always split my meal with my son. And sometimes, on carnivore, he can eat so much food now. I feed him all day long. I'm a stay-at-home dad right now. I feed him all day long. This dude eats all day. I know he's growing, but I cannot stress you guys. He eats all day long. Eggs, bacon, summer sausage. I mean, brats, you name it. I'm constantly just bending my iron cast skillet, man, because he's eating so much food. So I do think kids on carnivore eat more, because I think their body's just in harmony. It's clicking on all cylinders because they're getting proper food. And I noticed too, this might be too much for some people, but when I clean out his diapers, when he was eating veggies and stuff, I don't know if any parents are in the audience, but they've got these little plastic pouches like with veggie packs, and sometimes they'll put grains and fibers in there and stuff. Holy crap, man. His little butt would be so red and irritated, it would be raw. He would be crying because his butt hurt so bad from all that junk. That's when we were still trying to, it's got veggies and, we thought we were doing the right thing. But then he would always cause my son problems, and he would cry and be in pain. And now he's not in pain at all anymore. He gets no diaper rash. We rarely even have to use diaper rash. So you're cutting down on money for diaper rash. You're cutting back on diapers. I mean, all because he's eating carnivore. So he's crapping less because I'm feeding him less junk. The food I do feed him, it goes into his body, and he's growing like a Brussels sprout now, man. Like,
that's JT. I gotta tell you, Ellie, everyone, good job. My goodness, William is just going to be. You're saying he's growing like crazy right now. Jeff DeProsperous
for his age already.
Wow, Jeff D, our buddy Jeff D, his two boys are carnivore, and they're just killing it. And William, from such a young age, can you imagine growing up that way with the proper nutrients and the proper food instead of putting that waste in him?
Since that would just go right up. He started at 1.5. I wish I would have started his entire life, but I didn't know about the diet till he was about 1.5 when I heard about it from Carrie.
It's going to be amazing. Just amazing.
He's going to be at least 3 inches taller than me. He's going to be 50 pounds more muscle. Like, I'm going to have a bodyguard, that's for sure. Or a problem.
You're gonna have to buy a bigger bacon suit for him.
Yeah, no, for real. So I just want to put that out there that I think, and like Chafee said, if it's good for you, it's good for your kids, it's good for your dogs. Like, don't be stingy, man. Don't make the dogs eat processed food while you're chilling over there on ribeyes. You know, don't eat all the ribeyes and make your wife and your kids eat junk. You know, like, and once in a while we will buy something that's non-carnivore, but it's to teach him about making decisions. And he won't even eat the stuff, man. It's wasted money because we've been giving him so much of the good stuff. And I just want you guys to know that when you start a kid young, they will make those good decisions, even if there is. And I want to do that because at some point in time, he's not going to be around me all the time. And there will be the option of duck food. And he's got to learn to seek out the better option. And yes. I'm going to teach him what the better option is. And I'm going to just tell him it'd be great, if you could do that. And I explained to him too, that mommy and daddy weren't so healthy. And now we are healthy. This isn't because we don't want you to not have fun. There's no Mountain Dew for you. If he goes to a party or something and they're all having Mountain Dew, whatever. If he wants one, whatever. But am I going to buy Mountain Dew, packs of Mountain Dew for my household for him to have all the time? No, he's still a child and I'm still in control. But I still do, as much as I am in control of him because he's a minor, I still want to teach him about making decisions. It's a fine line. I know some of you guys are like, well, why would you buy the duck food if it's not good for him? I know, but I still feel like he's got to make some decisions. And it's not like I bought him a thing of rat poison and told him, oh, don't eat that because you might die right away. He's not going to die right away eating the duck food, but it's still about making decisions before he starts making those decisions so many times where he would die from making that bad decision. Hopefully that made sense for you guys, but
no, absolutely. It's amazing, JT. And not just the fact that he's growing and he's bigger than you, but his mental clarity and not having the brain fog. Dude. Yeah.
I have to watch it. He picks up on everything now. And the doctor was saying he's a little bit more advanced for words and things than he should be. And I think it's awesome, man. I'm not saying that's all carnivore, but I'm saying I don't think his diet is hurting his mental development.
Right. So it's only going to help. It's got to accelerate it too. Like if he can go through all of school with that mental clarity without the brain fog, and yeah, that's incredible.
Yeah, and I think all of us parents, Carrie, you could probably relate. I want my son's platform to be the highest point that I could ever reach. You know what I'm saying? With my hands, I want him to start from his launching point to be as high as I could ever reach. And that's what I want with this channel. I want to, one day when I'm done with the channel, I'll pass it off for him and he can run the channel, and where he's going to start is where I left off, as high as I could reach.
Are you're going to have a little ceremony and hand over the bacon suit?
Hey man, one day, I hope he wants to run the channel with me one day, because we'll do it together, but eventually I would like to give the channel to William, and then I would like to do maybe like some haunted, start another channel and do like some haunted house videos and stuff.
You got to come to the theater again, JT. I'm sitting here right now.
That door flew open. You guys, when I was there with Carrie, we were talking about ghosts. He's got a cabinet behind the door over there. There's like white cabinet. And while we were talking, the door just flew open on this cabinet, man. It was funny because Jen swears that there's ghosts at the movie theater. I'm sure there would be, man. How old is that theater?
1859, and I'm sitting in the dark basement right now because I wanted to give you my full attention, JT, for this call. So I'm here alone in the 1859 theater. All the lights are off upstairs. Should we take you? Should we take you to the little back there?
You guys, I'm telling you, Carrie, he's the man, dude. And I saw you watching Elf the other day, you lucky jerk.
Oh, yeah, we had a private party come in, and I was like, what movie did they pick? Elf. I was like, yes, a good one.
We had seen Deck the Halls, Carrie?
No, I don't think so.
Oh, my gosh. If you guys out there, I just saw Deck the Halls. It's got Danny DeVito in it. If you're looking for a funny Christmas movie, you guys, this year that you might not have seen, type in Deck the Halls. See, if you have Sling TV, I know it's you can just pull it up on Sling for free. It might be on Hulu and all those other ones, but Deck the Halls with Danny DeVito, you guys are gonna laugh your asses off. Your carnivore asses are gonna get even skinnier laughing. Danny DeVito, he wants to make sure it's the internet is just coming out kind of in the movie, and his daughters found a website where you could pull up the map, kind of like the first Google Earth type thing. And they're like, oh, the neighbor's house can be seen. And he's like, well, where's our house? They're like, well, it's too small to be seen. So he wants his house to be seen from the space satellite images. So he's going to put on all these Christmas lights to make his house super bright so it can be seen from space. And his neighbor ends up just hating his guts because the house is so bright. It is hilarious, you guys. Check out that Deck the Halls. That's my... Do you have any Christmas recommendations before we go for a Christmas movie?
Other than Elf, one of my longtime favorites that I could recite is Christmas Vacation with Chevy Chase. And
I thought you were going to say Home Alone. You've got the bad guy poster in the room. That I was changing my Paw Patrol suit, and I saw the Wet Bandits. That's who it is, the Wet Bandits.
The Wet Bandits. Yeah, that was from the previous owner. I love that one, too. But actually, on Saturday, I believe on Saturday, we're doing a free Christmas movie, Christmas Vacation.
Yeah.
And this weekend, hey, bring William up if you want. We're playing Migration, brand new, Montello Theater. We got it for 2 weeks.
Thinking about it, man. I might have to pick up a duck suit, man. Start waddling. Let's go, you guys. He got the Mario. Let's go, Mario.
That'll be me this weekend, even though we're not playing the Mario Brothers movie. But hey, when Mario 2 comes out, but
if you
JT got me
Harry in a Mario Brothers suit, you got to come to the theater. Otherwise, you guys, I don't know, man. You're just letting life tick by, and you're just being so boring if you don't visit Carrie at his theater. It's a lifetime opportunity.
JT, so many new carnivores have been coming into the theater. I know I said that before, but even this last weekend, I think there was a gentleman here in the chat that came into the theater and got some pork rinds and some water, and it was pretty cool. He listened to my live stream earlier.
Any electrolytes?
No, I should. I have a whole bunch of elements.
I don't think you need a permit for that, right?
Probably not. Yeah, they're prepackaged. Yeah, that's a good idea.
Put electrolytes in there for the carnivores. What about Home Alone? Which one's better, 1 or 2?
Oh, I gotta go with 1. Gotta go with the original.
I say so too, man. I love the action. My son, he had never seen Home Alone until a couple days ago, and he was laying down on his little Paw Patrol bed in front of the TV, as we're watching it, and he was just looked so bored as the movie started. But then when the two bad guys actually decide to, when they're like, okay, we're going to come back at 9 and then rob this house.
Right.
When they actually try to get in the house and they're stepping on ornaments and they're slipping on the ice and their hats are set on fire. My son, he went from being like this to he sat up, looked, and also had the biggest smile. And the more these dudes got hurt, the more they laughed. I was like, dude, William, you're hilarious. So Home Alone is definitely, I feel like it's not Christmas unless you watch Home Alone.
Yep. Yeah. It's a good one for sure.
That's a good one. Well, you guys, we got some Christmas recommendations. Is there anything on your heart you want to talk about before we head out, Carrie?
No, I guess the only thing I'll mention for people that weren't on there earlier, I did that depression video, and I'm really hoping to help the hopeless with that video. So if you know anyone suffering from anxiety, mental health issues, PTSD, depression, please consider checking out that video or sharing that video, post it on Facebook or wherever you can. I really think that's going to help a lot of people. And it's nothing from me. It's all of these individual stories like Ellie and other people that sent them in that I think will really resonate with people and show that there were other people in the dungeon and they're out of the dungeon now forever. And it doesn't have to be hopeless. So.
Absolutely. Yeah. And if any of you are watching and you do feel anxiety or depression, or you just feel like things aren't going your way and you're just not happy, don't beat yourself up. We've all been there, and it's something you can bounce back from. It's something you can get rid of, and it doesn't have to last, those types of thoughts and feelings. I would say, though, to just start. What helps me is if I'm starting to get in a bad mood or down and out or something, put on a comedy movie or something. Start focusing on something that makes you smile, and then you can always go deeper in thought after that. But the best place to start when you're in a bad vibration, because when people tell you, well, just stop thinking that, or don't feel that way, or just shake it off. That doesn't help, man. It doesn't help and it actually drives you further when people just talk so down about, so nonchalant about how you're feeling. So I would just suggest to focus on something that makes you happy, whether it's a good book, a comedy show, a movie, something that makes you smile, your kids go and playing with them. And then when you start to shake it off, because you're starting to feel better, focus more on and starting to think of how did you maybe get there, so you can avoid doing that again. But if you are in a funk, just focus on something that makes you feel good. That's be my best suggestion. I love you guys. I hope this helped you guys. I know I had a blast with my buddy here, Kerry.
Always fun with JT, for sure. Anytime you want to do this, I'd love to do it again, for sure.
Absolutely. You guys, thank you and goodbye. I appreciate it. Rick, I'll do my duck face. Okay, buddy?